It may interest you to know that school districts, principals, and hiring managers no longer ask, tell us about yourself. And in this, my book, 200 teacher interview questions, I have taken time to address, to explain, to highlight different questions from different platforms that school district asks teachers, principals ask teachers, and hiring managers in academia ask teachers. So I've taken time to do that. They want to check your IQ. They want to check your EQ. IQ stands for intelligence quotients. EQ or EI stands for emotional quotients or emotional intelligence. So questions being asked is just to test, is just to check what your thought process is all about. So you must be very careful, you must be very, very articulative, you must also be very conscious of your words you choose to give as answers. Alright, so let's move on to check the next slide, because I have always told you that these hiring managers are becoming smarter, smarter, and smarter by the passage of days. So let's see how the question can be framed in such a way that if you are not well prepared, you may be thrown off balance. Right? You may be thrown off balance. So look at it. Recruiters no longer ask, tell us about yourself. Yes, you heard me right. School principals, school districts, hiring managers, they no longer ask, tell us about yourself. The reason is because they see it as an absolute expression in asking questions. So that is why they have decided to jettison it and then reframe it into various fashions, some of which have been listed here. So the new version or versions of this could be any of these. The recruiters we have now might decide to try you in various areas by changing the sentences or by tweaking them to check how you reason and how you understand things and how you'll be able to manage the situation, not just the ones you memorized. If you did not memorize anything, how would you answer in the first place? That is what they are interested in. All right, that is absolutely what they are interested in, and we're going to see that one at a time. Right, we're going to see that one at a time. So let's see what happens. What happens if that is the case? What happens? Very, very interesting, right? All right, so the recruiters may decide to ask, or the recruiters will introduce themselves and their designations, and then look at you and ask, please introduce yourself to us. Look at the way they started. The first thing they may do is to first of all introduce themselves, right? They may say, okay, I am this, and this is my office. This one will introduce himself or herself and say, this is what I do here. All right, we want you to introduce yourself to us. That's another way to say, tell us about yourself. Can you see the tweak? Take notes. When you see promptings like this, they are pointing at tell us about yourself. So don't be confused, calm down, understand the question, and then attack it positively, right? Right. Then the second version is this, or they may say after initial exchange of pleasantries, we are glad to meet you. Could you please discuss your background? That's another way to ask it. Could you please discuss your background after asking you, how are you doing? Hi, Mr. A. Hi, Miss B. Hi, how are you doing? How are you today? You say, okay, I'm great. That's exchange of pleasantries. After that, they will gladly ask you, we are happy to meet you. Could you please discuss your background? Look at it. Could you please discuss your background? Look at the first one. Has to do with yourself. Second one, your background. Very, very important. These are keywords that you need to look out for each time you are asked about yourself. So that's the second version. The third version could be, they may start like this. Okay, you are Miss or Mr. ABC, is that correct? And you, the interviewee, will respond, yes. It's okay. We are impressed by your profile. Can you explain your journey so far as a teacher of record? Can you see? Can you see that? Can you explain your journey as a teacher of record? Very, very important. Mark it. So what you need to do is very simple. But before I delve into details about this, it is time for me to call on you and ask you to encourage me. Alright? Subscribe. Come on, subscribe. Share with your friends, teacher colleagues, teacher all over the world. They need things like this. Some of them don't know how to begin to address these questions. You must do them this favor. You must share with them. Share with them this content. Alright? It's highly educative. I'm just starting, but I'm going to make sure I address 200 different questions from different school districts, from different principals, from different platforms, even including one-way interview sections and experiences I have had so far. All right, so I'm going to use this platform to address all that. I want teachers all over the world, all over the world, to be familiar with such questions. I am a teacher of record with more than 12 years of teaching experience. My dear, I have come a long way. I have answered more than 50 questions. So there is no question you will ask me today as a teacher that I won't know what to tell you. There's no question. If I don't get it 100%, I will be somewhere between 85 and 95%. And that is something reasonable, right? Okay, so look at it. Let's delve into it once again. Or they may want to ask, tell us what qualifies you as a teacher. All these things point at tell us about yourself. Let me pick my ball pen quickly for illustration and clear explanation. Look at it. These 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them, the first one, right? The second one, the third one, and then the fourth one, all of them have something to do with tell us about yourself. How? You may want to know. Look at it. The first one has yourself. Second one, your background. Then the third one, your journey. The fourth one, you as a teacher. These are points you need to jot down. So anytime questions like this come your way, quickly remember they're talking about tell us about yourself. Alright? In my next slide, I am going to tell you how to address this question, no matter how the school principals, no matter how the school districts, no matter how any hiring manager in academia want to tweak it, okay? So I want you to listen, no matter how they want to reframe it. Very, very important. So let's look at it next time, or in next slide, I mean. So we're going to have, good. So look at it. That's what we call QT give. QT give, yes. I coined this word because it stands for a lot of things. Use this acronym to answer any question on tell us about yourself. Any question that comes your way and that question points at tell us about yourself. Do not fidget, remain calm and begin to reflect on your qualification. Begin to reflect on your what? Qualification. That's the first thing. After introducing yourself as Mr. or Miss so and so, right? Or Mr. or Mrs. ABC, or Mr. or Miss CDE, just name it, whatever you bear as a name. That is what it means. Introduce yourself and then begin to reflect on your qualifications, your strengths, what you've got that they're looking for. Don't be afraid. Look into their eyes and tell them the qualifications you have. Tell them what makes you a teacher, how far you have prepared yourself to come this way, right? Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing you need to do is teaching strategies. While explaining yourself, find a time to coin in, or rather to chip in, or rather to discuss your teaching strategies. That's for T, right? The first Q is qualification. The second letter T stands for teaching strategies, styles, and philosophy. Do not forget. Do not forget. You must know, you must understand, you must have at your fingertips. You are teaching strategies, you are teaching styles, and above all, you must have, as a teacher, a philosophy that guides you. Very, very important. School managers, school district officers, administrators, principals, they want to see, they want to hear you speak about your philosophy as a teacher. I have one. And each time I'm submitting a CV or a resume, I submit alongside my teaching philosophy. So after going through my resume, you must also have to go through my teaching philosophy, and that makes it very concrete. Alright, so the next one is grades you have taught, primary, middle, or high school, right? You must mention in your introduction, in your tell us about yourself, in whatever version they reframe it, you must tell them that you are a teacher of this, for this, and that, and that. You must explain that, right? Okay? For instance, you can say, I teach sciences for grade 8 to 12. And I have this amount of experience. You mention it, be concrete, be numerical, be analytical, give the numbers, right? So when it comes to experience, give them numbers. How many years of experience have you got as a teacher? Do you have 2 years? Do you have 3 years? Do you have 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years? Just mention it, because your experience matters. They want to know that you are not a novice, and that is why you are called a professional teacher of record. That's why you are called a professional teacher of record. Good. Don't forget that. All right. Having mentioned that, also remember to point out achievements, what you have been decorated with so far as a teacher. You have taught for 10 years, you have taught for 5 years, you have taught for 7 years, you have taught for 20 years. What can you show for it? What can you present for it? This medal, I was given this medal because in so year I won the best teacher of the year. I was given this certificate, so to say, because in so year I was honored as one of the most lucrative, most industrious teacher in my school. That is what it means. There must be a way that your school has recognized you. That recognition stands for you wherever you go, and it's well valued. It's well valued in the same weights with the qualification you are presenting. So go for awards, go for achievements, go for anything that will stand you out. Mention it in your introductory section. Then the last not the least, we have discussed this. The last not the least, do not forget to mention unpaid volunteer services you rendered to the community where your school is, or where your school is located. You must tell them that you did 1 or 2 projects free of cost. Nobody paid you, just as a way to contribute to the community where you teach. You must find something to tell them, because they want to hear that you are not just a classroom teacher, you are a vibrant, contributory teacher to the society. Yes, that's what it means. And they want to hear that. So don't joke with such points. They are very, very important. All right. Okay, so Once again, I remind you, I want to urge you to subscribe here, right? Subscribe here. Promote this video for all teachers around the globe. I want teachers to be confident while answering questions, and be sure that what you say in your interview, you can defend it if you are invited. Another thing is to answer questions correctly in the interview section. Another thing is also for you to come to the school and they prove that those things you said in the interview, you can as well apply them in the school. No hiring manager will joke with you because they know you said it, now you're putting it into practice. It's very, very important. Other points I want you to take note of is this, but before I highlight and I said the points, already you are seeing them, I would like you once again consider subscribing. Come on, share with your fellow teachers. Come on, what are you doing? You have found value. I don't want to ask you if you have really found value here. Subscribe, share with your fellow teachers anywhere in the world. I speak English and I know English is wide spoken, so people can understand this. Share with your colleagues, share with your friends, share with teachers, no matter the level of the teacher, no matter the experience of the teacher. This will go a long way, building enough confidence in the lives of our dear teachers, who most times are scared, who most times are fidgeting when such questions are asked. I have taken time to split these things for our understanding, for your understanding, for my own consumption, for your own consumption. Okay, so research the school and know its mission and vision statements. That's the first thing you need to do. Connect your philosophy with the mission of the school. That's the second thing you need to do. Avoid stuttering while answering the question. Something is missing in this word answering. W is missing somewhere here, so take notes. And then look into the camera for facial contact. Look into the camera for facial contact with the recruiter or whoever is interviewing you. Also, dress corporate and look neat in a well-lit setting. Very, very important. Ask the recruiter to repeat the question if not clear. You need to do that, all right? And then ask one or two relevant questions at the end of the interview. The interviewers, the school principals, the district administrators, or whoever is asking you a question also is expecting one or two questions from you at the end of the interview. You can't just keep quiet and be looking at them after interviewing you. No, you need to tell them something. You need to say something. You need to ask some questions to show that you are actually interested in their school. Very, very important. All right, I'm going to end it here and then ask you to look out, watch out for the second question out of the 200 carefully selected teacher interview questions that I've decided to bring